Hello, my name is Rob Stewart, CEO of OpusWorks. Thank you for joining us today, and we trust you are having a great conference so far. Here at OpusWorks, online learning has been our 30-year focus. Today, in short, our mission is to enable you and your organization to more rapidly scale your process improvement initiative. With compelling content, an all-in-one platform, and an integrated tool set, we advocate blended learning to prepare people, our project tracker to propel them to complete projects, and our communication system to identify accomplishments worthy of praise. In 2020, online learning is suddenly mission critical. In this session, we will introduce you to virtual blended learning. Let's begin with some operational definitions. Learning events. Every learning event has two parts: knowledge transfer and knowledge application. With transfer, you learn the knowledge. With application, you learn what to do with that knowledge. Blended learning. Blended learning is the intentional integration of self-paced e-learning to transfer knowledge as pre-work for human interaction events, classes, sessions, meetings, etc., when students apply the knowledge. Done well, blended learning can be a game changer. Virtual blended learning. Do blended learning all virtual and do it well, and the possibilities are limitless. Done poorly, however, and the consequences could be catastrophic. Please, if you're serious about your process improvement learning initiative, don't skimp on quality, especially if you're driving culture change or striving for everyone to become a competent problem solver. Give your people great learning experiences, and you will greatly exceed your expectations. In this session, I'm going to share 5 keys to deploying virtual blended learning that delights shareholders. Key number 1, proper planning. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Planning avoids the rework and false starts. Who is your target audience? You must know the typical student, their motivations, their learning styles. What is that student to do after the training? Well-defined learning objectives are essential. When do they need to be trained? You've got to assure that the support infrastructure is ready prior to training. Where are your students? Anticipate possible barriers for students to access the training. And why is this training strategically important? You need to define the expected future state so purpose can be clearly communicated. Think SMART. S, specific. M, measurable. A, achievable. R, realistic. T, timed. Think SMART goals. How will progress be monitored and barriers overcome along the way? An agile, passionate, and data-driven planning team will mitigate resistance and power you through change management. Key number 2, blended learning design quality. In traditional designs, instructors both teach the information and facilitate its application. With blended learning designs, teaching is automated via the e-learning. And as with any automation, you gain speed, savings, scalability, reduced variation, and with automating the learning process, you also gain a way to teach everyone the same way, every time, at the same time. You measure your e-learning by student preparedness for application sessions. Let me say that again. You measure e-learning, your e-learning quality, by how well students are prepared for application sessions. Nothing else really matters. You measure the instructor by the student's ability to apply that knowledge and deliver results. You measure the overall design by how well students are satisfied with the pace and the tempo of the e-learning session mix. Here are a few additional tips. Offer e-learning without a blended learning process, and few will come. You got to think, train, do. Deploy blended learning in a class format with due dates, assignments, activities. A class is a group of people going through a common experience. You need to expect student accountability. Celebrate the go-getters. Cajole the laggers. And yes, you might even need to release the non-performers. Obtain stakeholder buy-in so the blended learning students are supported and given the time they need to complete the learning. Mix e-learning and sessions so there is ample time for action and reflection. And finally, imagine and create a blended learning design playbook for wide-ranging purposes. Here's an example from our Lean Six Sigma Greenbelt virtual blended learning design. Here we're showing session 3 in the measure phase. This 12-week course itself consists of about 30 hours of self-paced e-learning, interspersed with roughly 30 total hours of weekly virtual sessions in the form of 2-hour class sessions and 3-hour capstone events. Notice up here the session purpose, the learning objectives, the prerequisite e-learning modules, and the approximate amount of time it's going to take for them to complete. Here's the agenda of what you're going to do in class. What are the tools, templates, and forms that are needed? What's the homework? How long is each one of these activities going to take? And what's the approximate time required? This is the level of detail that's necessary to deliver world-class virtual blended learning in general and for process improvement topics in particular. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is effective, engaging e-learning. With blended learning, if you nail the e-learning, there's a chance for success. If you misfire with the e-learning, you're going to fail. Again, student preparedness is the results measure for e-learning quality. For process measures that will indicate whether we're on the way to results measures, we turn to the Kirkpatrick model. The Kirkpatrick model has 4 levels. Level 1 is reaction. Is the training favorable, engaging, and relevant? We measure that via surveys. Level 2, learning. Was the intended knowledge, skills, attitude, confidence, and commitment acquired? And we measure this via post-test generally. Now, sizzling e-learning for some is going to be boredom for others. You develop for the target audience. Remember key number 1. For engineers, PDF documents may be fine. If you're teaching frontline workers and appealing to them, an interactive instructional design will be much better. Here's a few things to think about. The structure. Introduce learning points, then explain them, exemplify them, confirm understanding, use knowledge checks, remediate, reinforce, transition. Good e-learning is much more involved than voiceover PowerPoint. Content development. If you excel with scripting, interactivity, graphics, voiceover, video, and animation, the learners will be engaged. But remember, don't overdo it and be sure to use pleasant voices. Learning styles. Provide options both for fast learners and methodical ones. Note takers like downloadable student guides, which eliminates the need for doing tedious screen captures. Data. Use post-test data and time in course data to improve and to identify the outliers, those to help and those to nurture as your future superstars. Here we see a 4-page extract example of our instructional design, which is the drumbeat really for all our OpusWorks modules. You've all taught firefighting versus root cause analysis perhaps dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of times. But you haven't taught it this way, this quickly, this memorably, and this effectively, where we introduce a learning point, we explain it, we allow the learner to self-assess via knowledge checks, in this case by dragging and dropping the characteristics, the 4 characteristics for firefighting and the 4 characteristics for root cause analysis. And if they're all put in the right place, we affirm the understanding is a winner. If you develop e-learning at this quality level, inspired and motivated students are going to show up in your virtual sessions. Key number 4, bought in and competent instructors. Blended learning instructors are guides on the side, not sages on the stage. As with all change, many will thrive. Some are going to be pulled along, kicking and screaming, and others won't make it. Again, student ability to apply the knowledge and deliver the results is the new measure for instructor performance. To excel, instructors need to ensure student accountability. The e-learning must be completed on time and on schedule. Next, and I really think this one is very important, respect the e-learning. As a blended learning instructor, you need to know the e-learning content. Otherwise, you run the risk of reteaching it. Don't reteach it. Your job is to make it relevant, important, real, and actionable. Next, embrace the data. Scores, time measures, participation, and surveys. All of this is provided by the system and enables you to do personalized coaching by student. Master the technology. Practice, practice, and practice. Glitches are inevitable, and bandwidth, as we all know, gyrates. Make sure, however, that you, the instructor, do not cause the technology breakdowns. Trust your design. When executed well, virtual instruction engages better than in-person instruction. Again, virtual instruction, it has been our experience, engages better than in person. To do this, you need to keep class sizes manageable. You got to use the aids, the breakout rooms, the whiteboards, the chats, the polls. Involve non-participants and be comfortable with silence. To mentor new instructors, we use 4 steps: model, assist, observe, release. So we teach, the instructor in training follows. They then lead, we assist. We observe ongoing, and then we release them to form their own virtual blended learning instructor path. On this slide, with this link, we'd like you to meet John Best, one of our MBB instructors, as he shows you his setup and explains how he delivers world-class blended learning. Our 5th key is enablement technology. Stakeholders are wowed with virtual blended learning designs. Remember key number 2. And these virtual blended learning designs are wowers when they are supercharged by an intuitive, simple to use, and accessible system. A system that automates all aspects of a deployment is a deployment leader's dream. Imagine having the control and the agility to make a real-time adjustment that takes effect immediately globally. Realize that you can indeed have it both ways. You can have the control of the system across your organization. And if your system is cloud-based, you can also be seamlessly integrated with your organization's learning management system. Next, delight your instructors with automated tools that highlight special needs. Mark attendance, score tests, grade assignments, produce at-a-glance reports, disseminate class materials, enable class cloning, and eliminate the incessant email. Do this, and you will enable your instructors to get out of the tedium and be able to inspire more higher performing students. As a leader, receive accolades from your students with automated, all in one place, intuitive access to all blended learning activities. And by the way, give them keyword searchability on information you want them to have so that it's not lost on a shelf, but right at their fingertips via a keyword search. Remember our 12-week Lean Six Sigma Green Belt design from key number 2? Here we look at the system itself to illustrate the value of enablement system. And here we see that same information presented to students where everything is easily accessible, all in one place. So there you have it, the 5 keys to success. Now go forth on your virtual blended learning journey, hopefully now more confident that you can indeed lead the way, and even knowing that OpusWorks has your back. For a copy of these charts and to learn more about how we at OpusWorks might help you more rapidly scale your process improvement initiative, please call me or meet Jan Freiberger at our exhibit and schedule an appointment to discuss your specific needs. And now it's time to say thank you, and let's all proceed onward to the next step in our never-ending process improvement journey. Thank you.